Hello everyone, I'm Michael Cheek. This lesson we're going to be working on the fundamentals of playing guitar. So just those basic things you need to know to start playing guitar. You might be able to skip this lesson, but if you start out on the wrong foot, it can haunt you later on in your guitar playing. So what we're going to do here is, first off, we've talked about the parts of the guitar already. That was the Guitar Anatomy 101 lesson. This time we're going to talk about actually how to hold a guitar, how to play single notes on the guitar, and how to hold your pick, things like that. I'll even give you an exercise or two at the end of the lesson to help you practice those fundamentals of playing. Okay? So I'm holding my electric guitar here, my electric Fender Stratocaster. Now there's a couple of different ways to hold a guitar that you might have seen people do. The most widely used these days is a more contemporary way of holding your guitar, where, if you remember in the Guitar Anatomy lesson, we called this the waist here, where the guitar goes in. It's the same on an acoustic guitar. We call this the waist. Now this side of the guitar, when we hold it like this, is the bottom. We actually want to take that waist and just set it on your knee right there. I'm just going to hold my knee up for a second so you can see it better. So set the waist of the guitar on your right knee. If you're a right-handed guitar player, you're holding it the way I am. Set it right there, and that positions the guitar in a comfortable way for you to hold it. Especially if you're holding a Stratocaster style guitar, it should be cut away maybe a little bit here and back, and then shaved back here so your arm can come over very comfortably. And if you'll put it here, that brings the neck of the guitar close in so your left hand can easily reach all the way down to the bottom and go all the way to the top of the guitar neck easily. Okay, a more classical style of holding the guitar would be, and you might want to do this if you're playing classical guitar, but it would be to take this same waist and put it on your other knee and angle the guitar up like this. Now this is typically played classical style when you're playing, basically just classical pieces, or some people just like to hold it that way. That definitely is different and from what most people will do today, and you probably need a footstool to keep this knee up elevated a little bit, but I thought I'd show it to you just in case you actually want to hold it like that and you feel more comfortable. Okay, now let me show you on an acoustic real quick. I've got one sitting right here. The idea is the same. Even if you're holding an acoustic guitar, it's going to feel a little different because the body is bigger, but you take that waist of the guitar down here, put that on your right knee, rest it right there, and then bring your right arm over the body of the guitar, and your left hand can reach all the frets. Now, one thing to note, especially at the beginning, you are not going to have a real good feel for all the frets without looking at your hands, so it's a good idea to go ahead, and you don't have to have the guitar straight up and down. We don't necessarily play the guitar standing like a soldier. We're leaned over just a little bit, and you can have the guitar lean back against you just a hair. You don't want it too far down because that makes you reach around the guitar neck too much. But just lean it back slightly so that when you tilt your head down and you look down, you can barely see this front side of the fingerboard here. Okay? That way, at the beginning of playing anything that's new to you, you can see your hands and you can develop the correct muscle memory for whatever song you're trying to play. If you make 100 mistakes in a row, you're going to keep repeating that mistake because your hands are remembering how to do it wrong. If you can see your hands, this is especially important for playing songs when you're not reading music. If you can see your hands when you're playing a song, then you can make the correct hand movements, and your muscle memory will start to take that into account, start to remember the correct way to play chords and melodies and things like that. So, good idea to, on electric, like a Stratocaster here, or Les Paul, whatever you have, or acoustic like this, lean the guitar back slightly so you can actually see what you're doing. Okay? Now, that is how you hold your guitar. Set that back here. Let's talk about how you hold your pick. Okay, now there are different styles of picks out there. The most common is like this, the one you see here. The camera will focus in on that. Okay, this is just an average pick. Picks come in different thicknesses, and that's where they get the names light, medium, thick. That's telling you how thick or thin this pick is. Okay, a very thick pick will be very good for single note playing, for lead guitar, melodies, things like that. Really thin picks are good for strumming because they'll bend past the strings so you can strum all of them and it sounds better. A medium pick is just, like you would think, it's kind of good for both. You can kind of go back and forth between soloing or lead guitar to rhythm guitar. It's really is a personal taste thing, though, so there's not a right or wrong answer when it comes to picks. And there's also all kinds of innovations out there that you will see if you go to a guitar shop. Big one or a small one, they'll have all these little inventions, and you can try them out and see what works best for you. But in general, when you see me playing guitar, I'll be using the typical pick like this. If you hear someone talk about a jazz pick, that'll be a smaller pick, usually thicker and smaller for very precise note playing. But this is a good all-around pick, okay? Do yourself a favor and buy a pack of them because you will lose picks unless you're extremely careful. I lose them all the time, so it's good to have a bunch laying around, okay? Now, the way you hold your pick, you're going to hold it between your first finger and your thumb. And, there's a couple of ways to do this. This is also personal preference, but one thing I want to make sure you don't do is either choke up on it too far and not have enough of the pick showing. And also, don't grab it too far back here, too. That would be like trying to write with a pencil holding it back at the eraser. You can't be very accurate like that. At the same time, you don't want to hold it right next to the very tip because it puts you too on top of what you're doing. Okay? So, basically practice with it, get comfortable. This is about how I hold my pick. Let you get a good look at that there. Okay? Just like that. Depending on what I'm playing, I may move the pick around a little bit. That's why I'm not being too specific about how to hold the pick because it depends on what you're playing. But about like that, and that will work. Okay? Now, let's get to the actual string playing notes on the guitar. Okay? In the Guitar Anatomy 101 lesson, we talked about frets. Those are the actual spaces here on the guitar neck. And we count from the bottom up. First fret, second fret, third fret, fourth, fifth, sixth. Now, when we're actually going to play a note here, we're going to press down in those spaces, not on top of the fret wires, like I talked about before. This is the fret wire here. What we basically are doing when we play a note and actually press down on the guitar neck is, instead of the string ringing, you do it on the skinny E string here. Let me turn it up. Instead of this E string, I'm plucking the skinniest string here. Right now, I'm plucking it, and it's ringing all the way from this nut right here, all the way to the bridge right here. Okay, it's ringing the entire length of the string. When I press down, let's say in the first fret here, the note goes up. It goes up because I shortened the string. What happened is, as soon as I press down behind this fret wire in the first fret, now the string is touching the hard surface of this fret wire, so it's ringing from there to the bridge now. Okay, so we shortened it that much, raising it the exact amount for the next note. If we go up another fret, it's doing the same thing. And you can see the technique I'm using here. I'm pressing down in that space, but I'm not in the middle or towards the back. If I'm in the second fret, then I'm going to be right behind this fret wire here. And I'm going to use my fingertip. I'm not going to lay flat on it. I'm going to use the fingertip and come in straight into the guitar like this, curling my hand around, my finger around, so I can use my fingertip to press down the note. That goes with any finger I use. Okay? Now, you may see me play some songs on this website where I've got my fingers laid flat for different chords and things like that. There are exceptions to this rule, but here at the beginning, you definitely want to try to use your fingertips to press down these notes. Your fingers will be sore at the beginning here, so you might only want to do this exercise I'm going to give you for about 5 minutes at a time. After a few weeks of playing, you'll be able to play for a lot longer and it won't hurt your fingers, but you've got to get those calluses on your fingertips built up first. So, now that you know how to actually press down a note, and I didn't talk about plucking the string, but I think it's self-explanatory. Basically, when you hold down a note, you just use the pick and you pluck that single string. Okay? Only pluck the strings that you want to make a sound. Okay? So if I'm only trying to play one note, I only play that one string. If I'm playing a full chord, then you'll see me strum all the strings if I need all the strings. Okay. Now, let's get to this exercise. The first one that we're going to do 2 exercises in this lesson. Okay. I'll have a couple more in other lessons for you, but just 2 in this first one. This first exercise is meant to help you with your right hand picking. Okay, to get used to the spacing between these different strings. Okay, now I want to make this clear. It's okay to look at your hands during these exercises. Okay, so go ahead on this one and look at your right hand. I want you to start. Remember these strings. I talked about it in the first Guitar Anatomy 101 lesson. This is E string, A string, D string, G string, B string, E string, or Eddie ate dynamite, goodbye Eddie. Okay? So, I'm starting on the thickest E string, the low E string, even though this is physically higher on the guitar. It's called the low E string. And I'm starting on that one. What I want to do is take my pick. I'm going to pluck that note up, and then I'm going to pluck it down. So you go up, down on the first thickest string here. Then I switch to the A string and do the same thing. Up, down. Then I switch to the D string. Then the G string. Up, down. Then the B string. Then the skinny E string, or the high E string. Okay, so putting that together is just... You can see you don't even need your left hand to do anything, okay? So we're breaking up the different parts of playing a guitar note. Now, after you've gone down like that, then go back up. But this time you're going to go down first, then up. So on the skinny E string, it's going to be down, up, B string, G string, D string, A string, and last, the low E string. Okay? Now, I want you to do that, put those 2 things together, and then maybe do that 5 times in a row. Do it as kind of a warm-up before you start playing some of your other things you're going to learn. So you just go through it. Just like that. Okay? Now that's a good right-handed exercise for you to do. Also, I forgot to mention, it does matter where you pluck the strings here. If you're playing an acoustic, you want to do it somewhere around the sound hole in a comfortable place. On the electric guitar, you want to do it somewhere around here, just behind where the neck stops, back here somewhere, over the pickups. And you want to do that in general, although we do get a different sound if we move it different places, like back here by the bridge. I get a different sound for sure back there. But in general, most of the time, you want to play it somewhere around here, just in a comfortable spot for you. Now, let's get to the second exercise. That first exercise was just the, a right-handed picking exercise, number 1 is what we'll call it. Okay? Also, I will have tabs for this. Tabs are a way of reading music, and we'll talk more about reading tabs later, but just wanted you to know you will have tabs that you can download for this. So it's either right next to the video if I've made the update to the website, or you can find it in the tools section. Okay? Now, let's go ahead and go to the second exercise. This exercise is called the caterpillar. Okay? Now, what this one is you're basically going to be working on pressing down the notes of your guitar and stretching your fingers out. At first, your fingers aren't going to want to stretch out, so we're going to work on that here. Okay? Now, let's go ahead and we're going to start, since I'm assuming you're new at guitar, we're going to start higher up on the neck. Not too high in case you're playing an acoustic guitar. So let's start at the 9th fret. Okay? If you need to, you can start back at the 7th. But we're going to start on the skinniest E string, 9th fret. Okay? Now what I want you to do is with your right hand, you're going to pluck the note. With your left hand, just like I taught you, you're going to press down with your fingertip and the 9th fret on that skinniest E string, and the note should sound like this. Okay? Now, after you play that first note, I want you to leave that finger there, and then I want you to use your middle finger and put it down on the next fret, but don't pick up your first finger. This is where the stretching comes in. Okay? So now you've played your 10th fret with your middle finger here. Leave those two where they're at and put your third finger down in the 11th fret. And you know what's coming next. Now that you've played those three notes, use your pinky. It's probably going to be the most difficult for you to use. Put it in the 12th fret, or the next fret, depending on if you started back here or not, but put it on the next fret, leaving these fingers where they're at, and play it. Okay? Now, once you've got those 4 notes down, then we start the next part of the caterpillar. It's like a caterpillar basically climbing up or climbing down the guitar neck. Here we're going to go up. So, after you've done this, then you're going to pick these 3 fingers up and then slide your first finger up 1. And now do the same thing. Now we're starting on 10, so it's going to go 10th fret, 11th fret, 12th, 13. Now we're going to slide again. Now we're going to go 11th fret, 12, 13, 14. And again, 12, 13, 14, 15. Again, 13, 14, 15, 16. And we just crawl our way up the guitar neck. Once you get better at this and you can stretch your fingers out, you can start lower. Because obviously, you can see the frets are thicker down here than they are up here. So it's easier to start this, if you're a beginner, up here at the top of the neck. Once you're better at it, you can start maybe down here at the 3rd fret. Do that, and then slide up 1. And basically, you're walking a caterpillar up the guitar neck. Once you're done with that, try going to the B string. G string. Okay, D string. You want to get smooth as you can at it. Whoop, my guitar, my input. Sorry about the popping there. That is the caterpillar. You want to get as good at that as you can. Use it as a warm-up. Even when you're an advanced guitar player, this is not a bad exercise to warm up with. Okay? Now, if you have any questions about this lesson or any others, you can email me at feedback@mikesguitarlessons.com. You can email me with questions about a lesson that I've had. You can email me with suggestions on things that I might have skipped over. I learned how to play guitar many years ago, so sometimes us guitar teachers, we forget stumbling blocks that our students might have. So I'm always open to suggestions if there's something that you're having trouble with that an extra lesson may help you out with. I'll just make the lesson, stick it in there, and as a member of the website, you're more than welcome to do that. So, again, email me at feedback@mikesguitarlessons.com, and I'm making sure I haven't forgotten anything. Just a quick note, these 2 exercises that I gave you, along with the Guitar Anatomy 101 guitar lesson, those are pretty good videos for the first week of your guitar playing. Usually if somebody's a complete beginner, that's what I'll give them the first week, and they'll practice that for a week and try to get good at it. And they might be ready for the next thing the next week, or they might need another week to practice it, and we'll just kind of refresh and go back over everything to make sure they're not making any mistakes. But in general, that's enough to keep you busy on the first week. But if you're ready to go to the next lesson, go to the next lesson. So thanks for watching, and good luck.